Thank you, Chairman Carper. Thanks for having the meeting, and we're working well, I think, towards keeping the record of reauthorizing WRDA every 2 years. Secretary Connor and General Spellman, wonderful to have you with us here today. You might recall the last time you were both before the committee, we discussed a project that was incredibly exciting from my home state of West Virginia, and that is the Nucor steel plant in Mason County. Once the plant begins commercial operation, it will employ hundreds of full-time employees in an area where jobs are desperately needed. I want to take a moment to thank you, your staffs, and the team at the Huntington District for your assistance and personal attention to this project. I am pleased to say that Nucor broke ground on the site last October, and this would not have been possible without your support and hard work. I will say, just for the audience listening, and you all probably know this, at the groundbreaking, a Guinness Book of World Records was broken. It was the largest groundbreaking ever with 545 shovels. So look it up in your Guinness Book. It was very exciting for the community. Every high school senior was there with a shovel. Since 2014, the committee has kept its biennial schedule of passing bipartisan legislation that authorizes water resources studies and projects. WRDA, as we know it, also sets national priorities for our Civil Works program at the U.S. Corps of Engineers. I look forward to continuing that track record, as I stated earlier. Last year, Chairman Carper and I, and he mentioned this in his opening statement, sent a letter to our Senate colleagues collecting their request for WRDA 2024. I must say, WRDA 2024 is becoming very popular. I'm pleased to say that we received a significant number of requests, many more than last time, which demonstrates, I think, the strong interest but also the necessity of this legislation. As the chairman and I have both said repeatedly, WRDA 2024 will not be a policy-heavy bill. Instead, the legislation will focus on authorizing new or modifying existing studies and projects, as well as making much-needed technical changes in prior provisions in order to better reflect the intent of Congress. This limited scope will enable the Corps to focus the energy and resources on fully implementing prior WRDA provisions, which will ensure that the agency continues to be responsive to water resource needs. As I've previously stated, it's important that any WRDA bill supports the timely and efficient delivery of water resources projects while continuing to meet national priorities. Flexibility, we've heard this on over and over again, is key to ensuring that the Corps can identify and carry out solutions that are tailored to the needs of each individual community. We must also continue to preserve the role of non-federal sponsors in this project and maintain the Corps' focus on its primary mission of navigation, flood, and coastal storm risk management and ecosystem restoration. I'd like to extend my appreciation to the staff of the Corps, as the chairman stated, many of them, some here and many all across the country, for their engagement with the committee as we oversee the implementation of WRDA 2022 and also prior WRDAs. However, I am concerned about the Corps' fulfillment of some of these provisions. As ranking member, one of my two priorities across the committee's jurisdiction is improving the environmental review and permitting processes for all types of infrastructure projects, while not sacrificing important environmental provisions. These processes need to move forward in a timely and productive manner so that the committee can realize the benefits of these projects for a whole lot of reasons. I'm proud that WRDA 2022 contained a provision that furthers this goal, which is NEPA reporting. Unfortunately, more than a year after enactment, this important provision is still not implemented. Earlier this month, the Corps informed the committee that it will need an additional $3 million to set up the reporting system, and another system, which WRDA 2014, that's 10 years ago, also needs another $2.5 million a year to maintain these systems. Recent WRDAs have also included provisions designed to reduce the financial burden on non-federal sponsors in economically disadvantaged communities. Much of my home state of West Virginia qualifies as economically disadvantaged and could benefit from these provisions. Regrettably, some of these provisions have not been fully implemented or even begun, which means critical projects are not moving forward. It was clear from my Senate colleague requests that many of the provisions in prior WRDAs are also facing delays and obstacles. This hearing, in part, is part of the committee's ongoing oversight of the Corps and the agency's efforts to carry out these laws. We will closely examine whether or not the Corps has made the implementation of certain provisions needlessly more complicated than Congress intended them to be. I look forward to discussing all of these issues in more detail with our witnesses. Today, we will also learn about the Corps' priorities for WRDA 2024. I'll be particularly interested in which priorities require legislative language and which can be carried out through existing authorities. Secretary Connor and General Spellman, again, thank you for your continued commitment and transparency and accountability and accessibility. I need to add that, and as well as your insights into these matters. I also want to thank and acknowledge the staff across the Corps enterprise for their efforts to provide the committee with technical assistance on various WRDA requests that we receive from our Senate colleagues. The technical assistance is a vital part of our legislative process, and we greatly appreciate the responses. The work of the Corps has and will continue to make a difference in communities all across the country, particularly in my state.